Well, as you know, my background is in commercial real estate. So one of the things that I have done, and I did, and I hope I'm looking at this question correctly, but that was a managerial accomplishment that I was very proud of, and that was the acquisition of the Portland area office. I did that from the ground up, bringing it to tribal council as far as a need. That we used to be in a building that was called the Kelly Building, and when I first came to work for the Grand Round Tribe, I went to take a look at our satellite offices and all the properties that the tribe owned. And when I went to the Kelly Building, I was shocked by what I found. There was mold all over the outside of the building. They had plastic over the copy machines because water was not dripping, pouring from the ceilings, and it was just a mess. So that became a priority. And so anyway, I put together the presentation and made a presentation to tribal council and went out and looked for what we together felt was a property that met the needs of the Portland community. And so that was not only the acquisition from start to finish, but also the remodel and working with all the contractors and putting together bids for all aspects of that remodel and seeing it through to completion. So as far as managing, I took that project from day one all the way to completion.
Thank you. Chris?
Like Ann, I'm hoping this answers your question. I guess the skill set that I bring to the table and I brought to the table when I was on council was communication. That's what I got my degree in at the University of Oregon. Every article that you saw in the Tilicum-Wawa and Smoke Signals that had my byline on it, I actually wrote. I wrote it myself. I would have staff look at it to make sure there weren't any factual inaccuracies, but I'm proud to say everything you saw from me, I personally wrote. And I'm just not taking a jab at anyone on council, but sometimes we do have things that are published that council members don't write, but it goes under their name. But when every Tilicum-Wawa article you saw from me and in the Smoke Signals, I actually wrote. And I think that's important in any organization, is someone who can communicate. But another skill set that I think I bring, and I guess it's not really a skill set, I just think it's a habit that I would hope anyone who gets on council brings, is they don't meddle in stuff. Sometimes you have to step back and let managers and employees do their jobs and not attempt to micromanage. If they make the wrong decisions and they report to you, then you hold them accountable during the reviews. But one of the problems I saw on tribal council is that they did try to do the manager's jobs, and I think that's something I wasn't a big fan of. I think sometimes you just have to step back and let these people who have the expertise do their jobs.
Kevin, did you have your hand up?
Developing kind of a habit here where I was answering the question last. I wanted to break that there.
That's good. I was looking to do the same thing.
Never mind. I think managerial and organizational skills, I think the first and foremost, the foundation of what I do is that I'm a father. I'm a father of 5 beautiful children. I've been married for 13 years. And those folks that have children, raise children, and would know that it takes quite a bit of managerial skills to manage a household, and to do it effectively, and to do it when you're trying to do it, raising healthy families and healthy kids. My family may say that I'm a bit of a micromanager. I hope I don't carry that over on the council, but you know, I'm very hands-on. I like to do research. I like to make sure that before any decisions are made, I'd like to see some type of a report. Not only do I want to see what the effect is now, but I also want to see what the effect is going to be next month and next year and maybe even 5 years down the road. And that goes back to making procedural changes as well within our government. That we're going to do things, we do things planning people, and this is what an elder told me. And I hold true to this. This is one of our tribal leaders. It says that Grand Round people are planning people. I'm a planner. I haven't always been a planner, but it's been through education. I got a master's degree in special education from the University of Oregon. I got a bachelor's degree in Native American Studies from Humboldt State University. I sit on the culture committee. I'm the college counselor and advisor and GED teacher for the tribe currently. I'm the former Hatfield Fellow and served in Congressman David Wu's office, and as well as with the National Congress of American Indians. The skill set that I bring to the table, it's very difficult for me to say this because I was raised to be somewhat humble, but then I'm also, I got a little Kevin inside of me can get kind of big sometimes. I bring a large skill set to the table. I've been trained to be a tribal leader. I've been trained to be a teacher. I've been trained to be a father. My managerial skills is, I'm still young, I'm still learning. I'm really hands-on. I like to take projects and I like to walk them all the way through. Rather than talking about stuff, I like to rather just do it. I played college football. There's this adage that goes that you do the talking with your pads. I bring that same to my professional world. I leave the talking I leave the talking with what I'm doing. My managerial skills is hands-on. I like to walk projects all the way through. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Brenda, go ahead.
The first skill that comes to mind is multitasking. I raised 2 kids, well, 3, my husband and my 2 kids, and while going to school full-time, working full-time, and internships each week. I spent 18 years at the U of O. I specialized in multicultural affairs. So I spent most of my time advocating for students from many other cultures. So I was always there for them to help them maneuver through the system, an unfamiliar system to most. I learned many cultures. I shared those many cultures. And I managed budgets. I did large programs where I brought in 300 middle school students of color from all over the state of Oregon, and created a complete college experience for them. During my time at the U of O, I dealt with every socioeconomic status you can imagine. And so putting that all together and doing your job appropriately was challenging. I'm good at mediating. Oftentimes I had to mediate for the students between them, the professors, advisors. I have worked with all of the 9 other federal recognized tribes in Oregon with their education directors to create programs, to create policy. I also, in my personal life, manage real estate, rental properties. So I deal, again, with socioeconomic status. I use my people skills. I'm strong, I'm passionate about fairness, and what is right for one is right for all. I really believe in the Indian way, where we're all horizontal and no one is more important than the next. I have great listening skills. I'm an awesome negotiator. But I guess what I really think I'm good at is solid decision-making skills.
Thank you, Brenda. Corey.
Well, I guess I'd have to start out with being a Marine. You kind of get installed with those core values and those managerial skills of people, and through my 5 years, I was faced with a lot of adversity with not only budgeting, but with lives being in my hands, with combat scenarios and situations, more than once. And through my experience, I served as a subsistence supply chief, and basically is what I was, in charge of the ordering and all the business procedures for the whole day, all the operating procedures. And the dining facility is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records, and we had a 3.2 annual budget just for the food for the recruits and stuff. But anyway, it was a good experience, and from there I worked at 4 other dining facilities and was a subsistence supply chief, and was the NCO IC, usually always of any section that I was in. I was always part of the key personnel in anything I was doing. Through working at the casino after getting out of the Marine Corps, I worked my way up to table game shift manager. And it took a lot of work and a lot of training, especially because of those games. I mean, you got to be able to catch people cheating. I mean, there's a lot of regulations, a lot of policies, and so you learn a lot about managing people, you manage their time, and you're basically managing their lives. And it's a lifestyle. And so I think the manager, the best manager in my eyes, is one that cares and shows the compassion for the people that are working under him and always working for those people. And that's how we can build a team for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. So I want to give each of you guys a few seconds here to think about a closing statement, but I'll give you each a little bit more time now, probably as much as you really want, about 3 or 4 minutes, but no more than 5. Actually, let's try and keep it to 4. We only got about 15 minutes left. To just talk about your candidacy, ask people for their votes, why they should vote for you, and a closing statement. And to keep with tradition, we'll start down here in Chris and we'll finish with Kevin. We started that this way, so we'll go back that way. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and start us off, and then we'll bring that hand, Corey, and Kevin.
Well, I'm not going to make this too long. Like I stated at the beginning, my goal is to implement real reform in the tribal government, and I think that I still believe that reform needs to come through the Constitution and needs to come through the membership. I could sit here and promise all these different changes that I'm going to make, but that change still requires the support of council. We don't know how this election is going to turn out, but I will stick to my vow that my goal is to try and get a lot of the decision making back into the hands of the members, and to do that through our Constitution, to update and improve upon our foundational document, and in general just improve how we govern ourselves and engage in the practice of sovereignty. So those are my goals.
Can I have his 3 minutes he didn't use? No. Okay, well, like in the beginning when I opened, I was talking about how thankful I am to be a citizen of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and I really take, while I appreciate my benefits, I really take my responsibilities seriously, and I have been trying for years to get others to take their responsibilities seriously. I would really like to get more people involved. I would really appreciate any of you that know anybody who doesn't vote or isn't registered to vote to go out and have them use their voice. I am all about clean politics as much as I have to politic. Like I've said in the past, I really don't want to make politics my priority. I think it gets in the way, it slows things down, it divides people. So if we just stay with the issues, I plan on making that a priority, to stay with the issues and focus on them and get things done. My priorities, and I mentioned some of these, is correcting the 1999 Parent on the Roll Amendment. We've all talked about empowering the general membership, giving the voice back to them. I'm a huge advocate for employing our tribal members, especially those tribal members that we have spent our tribal education dollars on. I know there's so many of them out there that could be in some key positions. I want to address the communication issues between tribal council and the general membership. I know we say that every year, but we need it, and I want to work on that. I want to work on responsible budgets. I'm kind of a tightwad. That's a good thing about me. I mentioned the creating a centralized database. I think it's imperative. We just really have to have that for improved communication, job recruitment, surveys, all of that. And I'm really wanting to push for, write grants for, get all the prevention programs we can on our reservation. It's so important. And there's so many ways that we could go about it, and so many possibilities with the kids, with the parents, with the families, whatever. Let's just write the grants or get the funding. Let's make it a priority and work on those prevention programs. Also, I mentioned in the beginning about the Constitution and working on it and clearly defining the words that are tripping us up. We wouldn't be spending all this time, and we wouldn't be reacting. We need to be proactive. And I had mentioned this to the clear and measurable expectations. I need that. My kids are asking, what is the job description for tribal council? You have to be 18. We should at least get some kind of clarification on that. And then also, I'm all about the clear and measurable consequences for behavior that is not becoming or under our expectations. I am really adamant about a safe place for tribal members to share their concerns and not have to worry about retribution. So I really hope that you will consider voting for me. I hope that you will go out and get your family members, all tribal members, to vote. At the risk of oversimplifying things, this is pretty easy to change. Vote, and vote new people in. It takes 3 minutes, and it lasts 3 years.
I would just like to say is that I'm going to be a leader who represents the people. I'm not going to be a self-serving leader. I believe in responsible government. I believe in financial planning, community planning. I think we need some people that have knowledge and experience at the table. I don't believe we have that right now. I believe we need people who are respectful to the membership and realize who voted them in and why they're there. I think they forget that, unfortunately. I'm going to ask you one thing, and Brenda, you touched on it. I'm going to ask you to vote because I think we need a change. I'm tired of seeing people who are afraid. I'm tired of people who are in fear for their job, in fear for their membership, in fear to speak. We need to step up and make that change happen, and we need to have it happen now. This is the year. And I believe it's going to take a grassroots effort. I think all of the membership needs to reach out and speak to your family and ask them to vote, especially our youth. Our youth right now, I look at my son's 23. He is the 7th generation. You young people need to step up. If you want to make a change, register to vote. Don't be frustrated. Look at the responsibility. You have a role in our tribe. Please vote. Thank you.
Through the last couple of years, I've watched a lot of things happen in our tribe, and a lot of things I'm proud of, and a lot of things I'm not proud of, but through all in all, I just got to keep telling myself, you know, there's good and bad and everything, and we just have to keep faith and keep moving on, and sometimes that's all we can do. Sometimes that's all our position is, you know, and so, you know, I just, like Ann was saying, you know, we really do need to educate and get our young people out there voting, for sure. I think it's great. You really need to understand what's going on too, not just out there voting and saying, oh, you need to vote this way, you know, with, you know, because that's what I feel I was sucked into, you know, a lot of my family and friends and stuff, where I didn't understand what was going on, but you got to vote yes on this, and so I go in, I vote yes on it, and that was my fault for being naive. And I just hope that we can educate our young people and show them that, hey, you know, your vote does count. It most definitely counts, and we appreciate it. As far as myself for a candidate, you know, I've done a lot of budgeting. I've done a lot of just, you know, managing people, and you know, managing money and managing people are two different things. Totally two different things. And I just hope that we can, in the future, separate those things. And, you know, because I think greed has taken over a lot of our managerial decisions for the future. And I just hope that our leaders in the future don't make those kind of decisions for personal reasons, and mostly for the reasons of the tribe as a whole. And that's what I'm up here, trying to represent the tribe as a whole. I have no, you know, political stance as far as, you know, these families arguing and back and forth, and I'm just trying to stand up here and say I'm going to do the job that you vote me to do, and I'm going to stay true to you and myself for the future.
Thank you, Corey. Kevin, bring us home.
I think it's important to recognize that you guys spent your time coming out here, that you're very passionate about your community, and to recognize that I'm a leader that recognizes that. If I could give you money, I'd give you money. Right? I could give you acorns if that's what you wanted, I'd give you acorns. Right? But
Might
I
be
think
buying votes, we don't want to go there.
But I think it's important to know that I recognize that, even if it's just publicly, to publicly say, when people get up to the podium and they go to the meetings and they stand up and they show their heart to the people, saying I'm mad about this, or I'm frustrated, or I'm really concerned about this. That takes a lot. You know, I've been there, I've done that. So I think the one transaction, the one piece that we could owe as a tribal leader, and I think our council does a pretty good job of that, is being able to just sit there and listen. Respectfully listen. I can promise that. I can promise that if you come to me and you knock on my door and you say, I need some help with this, I can promise that I may not be able to help you, but I can promise that come on in and let me at least hear what you have to say. I can promise that. It's really important to understand where our community is right now. We are a community that is, geographically, we are split up quite a bit. We're not a traditional reservation or Indian community where a majority of our membership lives on reservation. We have a small reservation where a small majority lives. We have a large population in Portland. We have a large population in Eugene, Salem, Tacoma. So if we're talking about representing all the people, it's important to recognize that we have people that have different values, that are coming from different places. The people on reservation have a specific concern. We have a lot going on the reservation. We have a lot going on off the reservation. I don't want to make it seem light in your guys' life that you guys don't have a lot going on. We have people on the reservation right now who are suffering from drug addiction, who are suffering from alcoholism, who are suffering from domestic violence. Those are life-changing issues. Being disenrolled is a life-changing issue. I can be a tribal leader who can sit back and listen and not make harsh judgments or decisions about we're going to go here and we're going to do this real quick. Like heroin is on the reservation now, ladies and gentlemen. That's a deadly drug. You go to any other reservation that deals with that and they'll tell you how deadly that is. We want to do something for our future. First things for me, really truly, is getting that thing off of our reservation. I think it's important to understand and note that our Grand Round people are the greatest resources. Not every tribal member is going to needs to have a 4-year degree or go to college. We need to train some of our young people to be, welders, mechanics, to be cooks. That's really important. I'm a tribal leader who can work with people that are educators to do those types of things. I'm proud to be Grand. I'm not always proud, but I am very proud of being a Grand Round Indian. Some people say, well, we're not Grand Round. Well, no, I'm Kalapuya, Umpqua, Rogue River, Salish, and Iroquois. But a lot of my history happened in Grand Round. I'm proud to be Grand Round. I teach my children to be proud of being Grand Round. That's the kind of tribal leader that I aspire to be, that I am. I don't believe in division. I don't believe that creating division, creating contention. Contention does not solve contention. I don't believe in division. While sometimes I'm a young guy, I can get right in there and mix it up like other people, but truly at the heart of what I'm doing, division does not create unity, ever. And those folks that know and can listen and hear that, they know that that's the truth. And we know that's the truth. I'm a man and a tribal leader that believes in the truth. And what truth, you may ask? I'm a cultural man. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. I believe in the healing powers of Jesus Christ. I believe in the healing powers and the practices of our culture and our traditions. I believe in our songs. And most importantly, I feel like serving the people. That's the most important, is serving our Grand Round people. As a leader, we're meant to serve. Servant leadership. I want to honor you guys for coming out here. I thank you for listening to my young mouth sometimes, putting up with me. Aimase.
Okay, thank you. Let's have a round of applause for all the candidates. Well done. You guys all represented yourselves really well. High five for everybody. We hope to see you guys next week.